Okay, this is part two of Jujutsu Kaisen. If you haven't seen part one, I will give a brief explanation, and then I will be diving deeper into part two. Okay, so in part one, I basically said how Jeffrey Epstein is Gojo, Donald Trump is Gato, and Benjamin Netanyahu is Kenjaku. Okay. Diddy is Miguel. And the biggest and most important one is Sukuna is Jesus Christ. Or should I say a representation of, because Jujutsu Kaisen is karmic retribution for the Jews. Okay. So you with continuing off of that, Yuji Itadori is us. Okay. He is us. He's the Goyim. Um he's the main character. Okay? And that is because in our lives, we are all the main character of our lives. And our perspective of life is through our eyes, just like when we watch the show, the perspective of the show is through his eyes. Um and Sukuna is inside of Yuji just as Jesus Christ is inside us. Um, Continuing off of Sukuna being Jesus Christ. Um, and so Yuji is us, we are Yuji, in this example. Okay? And so Choso is Kanye West. Okay? Now why do I say Choso's Kanye West? Well, if you remember, um Choso was lied to about, or lied to by Kenjaku. Who's Kenjaku? Bibi Netanyahu. Who's that? The Jews. Who lied to Kanye? Who is getting Kanye in trouble? What is Kanye doing with his music as of late? Because of the way he's being treated by a certain group of people. So Kanye isn't our biological brother, but he is trying to help us with these greater threats, with these more dangerous individuals, and he's there for us, and he's got our back, and I don't want to give any spoilers and anything, but Kanye might sacrifice himself for us. Although he already has sacrificed himself, he has lost money, he has lost his relationship with his children because they've taken his kids away from him. So that's so Chozo's Kanye in this. Okay. And then some other characters that I was actually asked about. I was asked, "Who is Yuta?" Someone who watched my video asked me, "Who's Yuta in all of this?" Well, Yuta is actually Elon Musk, and you have to be like, "How is Yuta Elon Musk?" And that's simple. It's because Elon Musk is like low Kirk a fraud, and like low Kirk like yes, he's smart, but I don't there's some cabal magic going on, okay? Like SpaceX is impressive, but Tesla, Twitter, like I don't know. Those are not as I'm not shitting on this guy, but he says shit like, "Oh, I wasn't on the islands." Oh, well, you tried and you failed. You got rejected because you aren't one of the greats. You are a fraud. So I don't know what to say. Don't come in here acting like you're trying to help America when you weren't even born in America. Okay? You're a fraud. Like the greatest fraud of all time, Utah Kotsu. Um, Then Utahime is obviously Ghislaine Maxwell. Um, Utahime was in the same class as Gojo and Gato. Um, Ghislaine Maxwell was higher up in the socialites. She's well renowned. Um, she was in the circle with Epstein and Trump. So it would only make sense that she is Utahime. Similarly so, Utahime isn't really talked as much as the other characters, isn't really seen as that important compared to characters like Gojo or Gato, just like in real life, how Ghislaine Maxwell is not seen as important as people like Epstein and Trump. Um, when in actuality, one of the victims of all of this actually said that um Jeffrey Epstein compared to Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's a saint. That's how cursed and twisted Ghislaine Maxwell is. Um, and this is represented in the show because Ghislaine Maxwell has a better or not Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, yes, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, who is represented by Utahime. Utahime has a better understanding of cursed energy, and reversed cursed energy, and cursed techniques when compared to both um Gojo and Gato or Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Not Joe Biden, Jeffrey Epstein. Can't believe I just called Jeff Ep Joe Biden. Um, so that is how that is who Ghislaine Maxwell is. Now we have the star plasma vessel. The star plasma vessel concept as a whole is the sacrificing of babies to Satan. Okay. Now, if you were looking for who specifically was Rico, like who is Rico Amanai, you're gonna have to wait for part three. I'm sorry. That is not getting dropped yet. But the concept of the star, like what the star plasma vessel is supposed to be, is the sacrificing of babies to Baal. Um, and then this one you might not understand, you might not get, but let me explain. Takada, I think it's Takaba. This guy, he is a failed comedian in JJK, and his technique basically allows him to do whatever the fuck he wants. Basically. Okay, and who is Takaba? Well, the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't know him. If you read the emails between Jeffrey Epstein, and this guy, you would know that this guy was in the circle. Okay, and you know how the the Simpsons people are always like, man, Simpsons are always like right about everything. The Simpsons are always like eerily predicting things. Well, that's because The Simpsons aren't actually predicting anything. They're just telling you because it's more karmic retribution. Okay. Um, and so this guy, um, Takaba, can basically just control whatever he wants as long as he thinks it's like funny. And I think it ties in very well with The Simpsons and that whole motif. Um, because the creator of The Simpsons can basically just have The Simpsons episodes be about whatever he wants, and it'll come true because it's all karmic retribution. Um, so now we're on to Megami Fushiguro. Who is Megami Fushiguro? Well, that's none other than J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is Megami Fushiguro. Okay. Taken in by Gojo and raised. Um, to be the next president. Okay. And you might be like, but that doesn't make any sense. Well, then who the fuck is Toji? Toji is JD Vance's father. JD Vance's story about his father is identical to what Megami thinks his father was. So JD Vance's story about his father, time to go to Israel GPT. So JD Vance's father was absent, an addict, um, abandoned him and his mother. Um, Now that sounds kind of familiar. What happened to Megami? Oh, his dad left him, um, disappeared, never saw him again, and JD Vance and Megami both grew up not knowing their father. JD Vance's father was a war veteran who fought in the Vietnam War. Um, Hoji abandoned the Zenin clan um, and was the sorcerer killer, um, but died at the hands of Gojo. So I wouldn't be surprised if just how Megami doesn't know the truth about his father, JD Vance doesn't actually know the whole truth about his father. But I don't know everything. I'm just making speculations. So then, if JD Vance is Megami, well then, who is Nobito Zenin? And who is the Zenin clan? I'm glad you asked, viewers. Um, because Peter Thiel is Nobito Zenin, and Palantir is the Zenin clan. Okay, and you might be saying, like, what? How does that make any sense? How does that work? I don't get that. Okay, well, who is who do you think is going to be the next president? Who do you think is backed by Peter Thiel? JD Vance is. Okay. And JD Vance is Megami. Who did Nobito Zenin make the next head of the Zenin clan? Megami Fushiguro. So, seeing as Megami has ties to both Gojo and Gato, and how JD Vance has ties to um, Trump and Epstein, and how JD Vance has ties to Peter Thiel and Palantir, and Megami has ties to Nobito Zenin and the Zenin clan. These I think you can see how these things coincide with one another and how they almost represent one another. Um, Now I have Toto here, and you've probably seen this and wondering who's Toto. So Toto Toto is the like your Jews, not like so. Here's what you gotta say. You gotta understand something. It's not all Jews that are doing this, but everyone doing this is Jewish, okay? It is the Jews because all of the people doing it are Jewish, but it's not all Jews, okay? And you have some people that are Jewish and are just ignorant to what's going on, or they don't really practice their faith. And those are like the chill Jews, you know. Even Kanye said, I don't know a Jew I trust. Well, that's not true. I know like three. I know they Jew because the last name's Dean. Um, because even he is capable of realizing that not all Jews are bad. Okay, all bad people in the world are Jewish or niggers. Okay, they're either black or Jewish. But all um like all Jews aren't bad. You know, they're not. Um, Toto is a representage of these people that you may know in your life that are Jewish, and they don't realize it. They don't realize